Okay, so now we have the full panel here of AMA. Okay, what's top of mind for folks? I think we have a hand over here. Do we want to bring a mic? Shannon's running in the back. It's coming down. It's coming down. Shannon's getting her steps in today.
Thanks so much.
We have extra mics, so why don't you take this? And then we'll get
One thing I'm curious about, I know we've heard from several regulated industries today. What would you say to a company that is not just risk averse, I think take risk averse to the maximum, and to the point where they are almost ignoring AI, not just in using it, but in the fact that it exists and people are using it? What would you say to kind of start that conversation, particularly if you're maybe not in the C-suite or anywhere near it?
Yeah. I mean, like, good question. Like for me, I would start with like showing them data first, and not just going in with like, here's what I want you to hear me say. You know, like ultimately you go in there. The best way to do this to me is like to scare them and say, listen, like look at how much our competitors are showing up, and look what they're doing, and look how poorly we're doing, and why. And this is why we can't ignore this. And then you can start that conversation of what we need to do. That's the approach I would take.
Yeah, I want to say that maybe come from the angle that like you empathize with their fear. Like you understand why they're reluctant. I don't think people are reluctant just because they want to be reluctant. They have real concerns, which is some of the stuff I talked about in the morning, like what if AI hallucinates, right? What if AI doesn't give all the right information? But just because you're afraid doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I think like you have to show them that I understand that you're worried about the hallucination and the concerns, but this is the exact reason why you can't shy away from it, because consumers are going to AI. They are asking about drugs. They are asking about medical treatment. They're asking about insurance policies. They're asking all these regulated questions that if you are not looking at it and you're not the one that's like trying to provide or find a solution for it, the problem actually gets worse for you as a brand. So I think empathy, but then also say, you know what, it actually is a problem that you need to solve.
I have a different response than empathy. I think getting, use all your collateral and get a third party to come meet with your executives that will tell them that they are on a surefire path to failing unless they embrace AI and change. Yeah. I mean, I had this meeting with someone here in this room last week who's in a regulated industry who can't use AI, and I think we left that meeting, I don't want to look at that person too much, but we left the meeting with their leadership saying, okay, we might want to break some rules here and start using this.
So will Conductor come do that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we got one right here in the middle. Shannon's coming on down. We need some music. Oh, we get the.
Hello.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, I'm curious. Have you guys talked with the LLM companies? Are they willing to partner with you guys? Are they been more or less helpful than Google? Like, I'm kind of just trying to understand, like, what sort of incentive do they have to work with people who are kind of on the search side, like we have in the past, Google has in the past?
We have been talking to OpenAI specifically. I think Seth shared earlier that we're like, it's pretty crazy. We're like top 30 of like the token consumers. Yeah. And there's a reason you don't see anyone else up there that's in our industry, which is kind of interesting, right? So we've chose the path. I'm glad you asked the question. We deliberately made a decision that because we're in such early stages, when this game was being played with Google, it was too late. Like Google already have the ads, and because of ads, everybody have Search Console, Keyword Planner, Google, like all these things came later, right? We're kind of at the nascent stage right now. So my team, we are an enterprise partner of OpenAI. We've been extremely transparent. I want to say we've been evangelists almost for the entire MarTech industry. we've been going to them, and we have dedicated account managers, and I actually have been speaking with the product management team of ChatGPT. So for example, when the shopping results came out, I was very concerned that we weren't going to receive some of that information. And one of the things I think I can share is that everybody wants to know some kind of performance data, like is there going to be an OpenAI search console, for example. The latest information that I got is as part of them rolling out shopping results, they're working with some of the largest merchants. I mean, right now they partnered with Etsy, they partnered with Shopify. As they're starting to roll out the third-party like buy through ChatGPT, they will have to start producing some kind of analytics data for the merchants and also for the brands or product company that are selling through OpenAI. That's exciting for us because that's like Google Analytics basically. So first, I know that's not going to give you competitive data yet, but it's better than not being completely blind, right? So I think one of the reasons to partner with Conductor, I tell all of our customers, is that we really do want to do this the right way. We're really serious about doing this the right way. We want to build the right partnerships, and we're a large company, so I have all the customers behind me. In fact, when I go talk to OpenAI, the enterprise account manager says, really interesting thing, would you come and talk to our product team? But oh, by the way, bring your customers too. So I think I'm like representing all of you here, and it's something that we talk about all the time. But I'm glad you asked the question. We're trying very hard to get insights.
We've had more meetings with OpenAI in the last 3 weeks than Google in the last 20 years.
Yeah, we talk to them a lot.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Way in the back, Shannon. And then I'll look over this room. Side of the room. I just realized my back is sort of turned.
I had the Price is Right music queued up.
I know, we should.
I have it on
That'd be
my phone.
fun. Now we know.
That's what I was doing.
What are some wildly outrageous things that you've seen customers doing or other people doing or ideas that nobody's doing yet but you think somebody should do and see if they get slapped for it?
I'll share one. Oh, you go.
Oh yeah, no, you go.
You go. You're good. You're good.
I mean, for me, it is. I was just talking to like a lot of people are out there, putting a lot of like what's called AI slop, like just kind of using APIs to generate certain pieces of content in certain niches, and then creating multiple domains around that to push down larger brands and get that visibility, and then selling ad space on it, or putting like traditional, putting traditional like affiliate links on it. I've been seeing a lot of people doing that, and what they're doing is they're basically gambling and saying like, hey, listen, can I get this site to stay up? And as they get basically shot down, they just build more of them, but they're all doing it like agentically at this point, which is like probably the wackiest and what I think is just a complete waste of time. They're doing, but I'm sure it's working in some way, shape, or form for them. So that's one of the wackiest ones I've seen.
So my spectrum for wild is very big. So I wouldn't quite say this is wild, but for like in our business, everybody wants to know how we compare to competitors. So for years, we have like our sales team has like these little sheets and documents, and I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to have like this separate process. We're just going to put it all on our website. All the information we have about us and our competition, we're going to put it up. And when you go to the conductor.com homepage and you click on literally, like, I think it's the first or second tab, there's a drop down. And the first thing you see is all the names of all of our competitors and how we compare against them. And it's all there for the competitors to look at, for the AI systems to look at, for people to look at. When we want to make changes, we just make changes there, and then that's like the system of record. And that's like kind of not normal to have like your competitors' names literally on like the top of your website. We also have like a knowledge base that has like every little bit of information about everything about how our product works, all the idiosyncrasies, all that stuff. We just said, let's just open this thing up. So we open the whole thing up, and you can go to ChatGPT and you can ask questions about how to configure and use our product. But also, like, it's just complete exposure. I did find out, like, I was querying ourselves the other day, and it didn't recommend us. And then I was like, why aren't you recommending us for this? And then it's like, well, that feature's in beta, so we didn't want to recommend it. And then I was like, how do you know it's in beta? And then it gave me the link to the knowledge base where it said something was in beta. So then I like obviously I emailed the support team and I'm like, we got to be a little bit more less conservative with the beta tags. But I think that's like complete information transparency. Like open up your systems as much as possible. You know, we had debates about the knowledge base, and every competitor could see all of our roadmap, all the things we can do. They could see how we talk about them. But the net benefit is like customers. It's easier for customers, and it's easier for AI systems, and it's also just a little easier for us to run the business, not having to have all these like separate processes.
Anything else wacky? Oh, wait, no. You're good on wacky?
We also FedExed all the CMOs of the Fortune 500, and someone got it and saved the letter. So that was pretty cool.
I think I would just say one thing about me. I don't know wacky, but bugged the crap out of me is like there were a few folks on the panel earlier. They were talking about right now there's just so little data about everything. People are sharing anecdotes, and when you like, I go on LinkedIn and I'm looking at like these thought leadership posts, and they're like, oh, so and so published a study, and then you read the fine print, it's like 2,000 data points that they studied. And then they're representing this as if this is the pattern of how people, this kind of content and this kind of stuff, two sides of it. One is there's just such like desire to have data, right? So that's one way of thinking about it. But the other side of it is like, we got to do a better job of designing the product. I mean, Seth tells me all the time, is like, if we publish something like this or when we're in the platform, I always want to tell you exactly how many things you're looking at, what is the sample, if it is a sample, what is the sample of, and what is the actual data set that we're investigating, right? So I would say, yes, go read all the information, but also ask, how did they get this data? What does it represent? Is it really trustworthy for you to make your decisions off of it?
Yeah, that's great. Okay, next question. I'm going to go to this side of the room, and then we'll come back. Kyle? Yes.
Howdy.
Hey, Kyle.
Hello. So my question, one big takeaway I felt from today has been content velocity, our ability to publish and produce a lot of content. That's a bit of a limitation for me. So obviously I can partner with teams like PR and social to help inform those channels. But for a team that can't maybe up their content velocity, are we dead in the water, or are there other things like schema and more smaller changes that we can make that can still ensure we succeed in AI search?
Can you make the content that you have bigger?
Yes. So one thing I can say is like I can edit how the content looks or things of that nature. Maybe not just new content's kind of hard, net new.
Well, that, I mean, I think that like one of the things from my presentation this morning, it was not to have like, if you think about the chart with like all the personas and all the journey stages, that doesn't mean you have like 180, pieces of content. But what it does mean is like when you have a piece of content, which could be like, you can go like Amazon style, like super long content, and it might not have like the engagement or penetration you want from like someone who's coming to it. But in the context of feeding AI, if you have a really long, well-structured FAQ, you've got like data tables of product specs and matrix, like and other information, buying characteristics, like all of that stuff can be in there. And you can even like design your page so there's like kind of looks like maybe it's the bottom of the page for the scroller, but for the AI, right? Like if you have that really structured really well, and Pat can talk about the technical aspects of it to make sure it's really good. That's also like, it's not more content volume-wise, it's more information, it's more breadth, it's more authority.
Yeah, and I think, like you would focus more, like, I mean, everyone should do this, by the way, but like you would really focus on the structure of your content there. It's like, okay, and also like, and Seth talks about this all the time, it's like what is your particular POV? Like, what is the expertise of your organization? I would dive really deep onto that, and instead of saying like, okay, I'm not going to be able to put out 100 pieces of content this year. I'm just not going to do it, but I can do 25 or 30. Let's just say that's the number, right? In that 25 or 30, I am going to structure things in a certain way, but you're also going to start the process with other people in your organization, right? It's like they may not create it right away, but what I've learned is like you can put stuff in a hopper, right? And then you can just keep bugging them about it and say, listen, hey, remember I sent this thing to you like 6 months ago? Like, and eventually you'll get done, but you can start to build kind of like a pipeline for yourself. Like small teams have to kind of think that way, where you're filling the hopper and then you're kind of pushing it through. It might take more time. them, but focus on the structure and like the technical aspect, of course, schema markup, things of that nature. But it really comes down to really focus on the expertise that you can extract and put out there, and then bug people around your organization.
I have an alternative proposal as well. So it's very similar to the one from over here. So we had a customer who's like they're probably like a billion in sales, but a regional retailer. And they just were in the same spot. They couldn't make content. They couldn't do all this stuff, and it was basically hard. And their traffic was getting worse. This was years ago. This is in 2019. So we That got me a meeting with the guy who, the owner of the company. His name is literally on the sign. And we went in there, and we basically told him he was going to go out of business if he couldn't get a better e-commerce platform. And we did it in a very thoughtful way. It was like an hour and 20-minute meeting. But they ended up getting a new e-commerce platform, spending 2.5 years doing it. And then their business actually is doing pretty well since then. So I'd say, like, do that stuff before, but also, like, try to help your company fix the fundamental problem, which is, like, you can't have a broken system forever.
Awesome. Great advice. So I think we have time for probably 2 more questions. I think I saw one over here. We'll do one and then wrap. Alex will be our last one.
So we've heard a lot about how important Reddit is today. How do you recommend companies play in that space, particularly around negative sentiment? Would you say join into the conversation as the brand? Do you try to get happy customers to jump into Reddit instead of maybe like Google reviews like we have in the past?
What I've seen work best is having experts from your organization join the conversation, right? I'm seeing more and more brands do that, and really, like going in and don't try to sell them anything. Don't try to say, hey, here's a coupon to go, or anything like that. Don't get into fights with them. Right? It's a very dangerous place. It's like a lot of people arguing about The Bachelor on there. But ultimately, like, the best thing that you can do is be open. I am from this company. Like, even put it in your handle. My friend from Sonos is right here, and they run one of the best Reddit campaigns, I would say, period. They have Mike and Keith from Sonos. They go in and they just go in and troubleshoot and help people. It's about sharing your knowledge and your expertise and helping, and also not trying to hide the fact that you're from the company. Be upfront. Hey, this is XYZ from XYZ company. We're here to help, and you're not trying to sell you anything. And joining the conversation is what I've seen work the best in that fairly volatile environment.
Yeah, I want to say that some of the best Reddit engagement I've seen are who has the expertise, like what he said, but on the product side, bring your product folks, bring your builders who are going to be authentic and connect with people, because a lot of people there are looking for help. They're looking for, even if it is something that they're bringing up, acknowledging that there's a problem, but then join the dialogue in an authentic way. I think that's the right way to engage in Reddit.
Yeah.
Awesome. So last question actually goes to the Sonos gentleman up front. So Alex, you want to wrap us up, and then we'll head to happy hour.
Yeah, sure. Kind of industry-specific question. How do the people on the panel feel that product discovery is going to change for consumers in the future, especially from a non-branded perspective, with the future of AI, if at all?
I think I talked a little bit about this today when we were talking about how previously when people make decisions, they were shopping on Google, and I think a lot of the content were created for human eyeballs, right? Like the brand elements of it, there's a lot of sort of images, and those things are very important. But increasingly, if you want to get recommended in the ChatGPT shopping, I showed a little bit of sneak peek. We've got customers now coming to us who are ahead of the game. They know they need to be inside ChatGPT. They're working on their product feed. And those product feed has a lot of those fields where it's traditionally it's just really boring spec. And now they're trying to figure out how to get differentiated content in there so that they can get discovered. So I feel like, at least from that perspective, which is that little bag that I showed, the Louis Vuitton bag with all the attributes coming out of it, it's I think for a lot of people, that's a wake-up call to their content strategy, because they've never, ever maybe they don't even think about that as content, actually. It's like there's data. It's like data and content are kind of starting to become synonymous. But I think you need to have a strategy on, because you're not going to have a human sitting there writing. You need a system to build this.
Yeah, we're all going to be directly connected to like these models through MCP server, environments, things like that. And it's going to be just data back and forth, especially for e-commerce, especially for product feeds.
There's just a better way to shop, right? Like I bought 2 things recently in the last five days on AI. I bought a TV for a family member. And I was just like, I need a TV. I need it to be this big. I need it to be under $500. I want it to have like Netflix native. I listed it all out, gave me the options. I was like, I need it to be in one of these 3 stores, available now. Gave me the option. Boom, checked out. Same thing, like got an air filter. Like it's just a better way to shop. So brands are, as compared to going to the old way of doing it. So brands have to have all of this attribution, metadata to support the products and buying experience. Like, oh, what was the bag? This was the example from Wei, which was for a presentation we did for Louis Vuitton. It's like, oh, what was that bag that David Beckham was wearing to that event? Well, how does AI know that? Well, it only knows that if either you've marked up your bags with that metadata to say which celebrities have worn this bag, or if somebody wrote a piece of content on that. And if you want to, and no one wants to leave their future in the hands of someone else, you want to take control. So you need to you have to structure this data and you have to make it available for the AI systems.
Awesome. Well, thank you to our panelists for wrapping up the day with us. And thank you to all of you for joining us today. There's been so many good
Thank you,
conversations.
everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.